Tech News Weekly is sponsored by Hover.com. Go to gfu.hover.com and get 10% off your entire purchase. FreshBooks. FreshBooks is an easy-to-use online invoicing service that saves you time, gets you paid faster, and makes you look professional. Get started completely for free at FreshBooks.com. And by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook by going to audiblepodcast.com/GFQ.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody, to Tech News Weekly, a weekly wrap-up of everything that happened in tech, or whatever we want to cover. It's all my doing. Whatever I decide, that's what's going to happen.
Whatever you decide.
I'm Andrew Zarin. You can tune in live at gfqlive.tv, or you can watch us anytime at gfqnetwork.com. I'm joined by Suncast this week. How you doing, Suncast?
Hey, what's up?
A little bit. There we go. You're having some camera issues.
Yeah, I'm still having issues. We got to find a better system other than Skype. You know, that's what the real issue is, I think.
Oh, no, 100%. I think the thing is that we have no other options at this point. So we're using Skype. But GoToMeeting has a pretty decent high-def system now. GoToMeeting HD for their video conferencing. So I do want to try them out. And I have contacted them, and they have a free trial. So I'm going to see how that goes with them.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to try out.
I mean, I think I'm at the point that if I get another Fios line in here, a higher, just the 50 by 50, I think I could do my own server.
Really?
Well, I mean, that's plenty of bandwidth for you and me, right?
Oh, yeah.
You,
easily.
me, and like everybody else. I mean, if I do 1 megabit everybody, I could do 5 connections solid with no problem.
Lucky.
So we'll see. This is Tech News Weekly. If you watch us live, you're watching on gfqlive.tv. We have a great chat room there, and I encourage each and every one of our viewers to interact with us and hang out with us and talk to us in our chat room at gfqlive.tv. It's right on the bottom of the video. You could scroll all the way down, hit the menu, and change your name. If you want to change your name, if you want to stay anonymous, that's perfectly fine too. And you can catch us at gfqnetwork.com. We have all our shows archived. I also encourage you to subscribe to us on iTunes. We are on iTunes. We have I guess an iTunes partnership page, if you want to call it that, at iTunes.com/GFQ. We are recording an hour early, and I know a lot of the audience is going to tune in at 5 o'clock and say, what happened? Why is the show not on? So I'll make sure.
Why is it the comic show?
What's going on? Why is the comic show on at 5?
This isn't tech news.
No, it's not.
Screw this.
And then they'll get angry, and then they'll send me the emails. But tonight, Kunal is doing a comedy special in the city at the Triple Crown Bar, and the GFQ Network is sponsoring the event, so we have to be there at the Triple Crown Bar. I think it's like 307th Avenue in Manhattan. So that's where I'll be, and I'm sure I'll have video for everybody. Now, on to tech news. The big story of the week, the Amazon Kindle Fire tablet unveiled. It's an Android-based 7-inch tablet priced at $199. There's been a lot of talk about this device over the last couple months.
There's been a lot of speculation, and now it's finally out.
Now it's finally out. I did discuss this with Paul on What the Tech, but Suncast, I'm going to go to you. I want to get your opinion on this. What do you think of this device?
I'll be honest. It's a little hard to have an opinion on this device because it's something that's a little bit different than we've seen from other tablets. It's definitely not an iPad, but it's definitely not like it's not exactly a playbook. I know there's a lot of comparisons to it being the BlackBerry Playbook.
The same manufacturer made it, right?
From that.
Is it the case that the same manufacturer made?
I'm not sure about that at all. I mean, I really have not read any articles regarding that, so I can't make a statement regarding that. But it does have some similar appeal to it as far as visual design looks, but I don't know how it runs, So until I actually have one to try out, then I really don't know much about the device. I'll say this. I love the fact that it's $199.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that Amazon seems to be trying to do something competitive here. I mean, yeah, we have all these tablets out there that keep coming out. A lot of Android tablets and the iPad, but they're all really expensive.
Well, this, in my opinion, they keep talking about who's going to save the tablet market. And, because the iPad is not really in the tablet market. The iPad is in the iPad market. And I think this will save the tablet market, even if it's not a huge seller and it's not on the same level as the iPad. It's kind of setting a precedence on what the pricing should be for these devices. $199 is a great price point for a device like this. And it's not a slow and, it's not a low-end tablet that we've seen on the market for a couple of years at that price. This is a really decent computer.
It's a souped-up Kindle.
Is that what it is?
Is the way I look at it. It's a natural progression of where the Kindle should
well,
be.
It's a dual core. It's a dual core 1 gigahertz CPU, 512 megabytes of RAM, 8 gigs of internal.
It's designed for more than just reading books, which is what the initial Kindles and the other 3 models that they announced are basically for. This does more than just ebook reading.
No, it has an app store. I mean, everything you do on Android, because it is an Android tablet. It's overhauled and it's totally customized. But it is an Android tablet, so you have access to all those apps that you have in the Android marketplace. This is interesting. This device is going to kind of tell you where we're headed. Because if it doesn't sell for $199, I don't think any of them will sell at this point. I don't think any of these devices are going to sell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, because in one perspective, it's not. The fact is that it's not the typical tablet that we're used to seeing out there, because it doesn't necessarily have all the same features. It doesn't necessarily have
a camera, doesn't have GPS,
have a microphone. It doesn't have an HDMI port. It doesn't have a big hard drive in it.
Again, do we need it?
Do 3G.
But do we need it? Do we need? I mean, the 3G aspect. I mean, that's definitely going to come, and we know that, and there's a reason why they held off. In a couple months, they'll release the 3G. But do we need the camera in this device? Do we need a GPS?
I don't know about necessarily a camera, but I would definitely like to see a microphone so that you could at least do video chatting or not audio. Video chatting, but Skype kind of stuff.
Which I'm sure we'll see in future devices. Already the rumors are heating up that we're going to see a 10-inch tablet.
I really don't see why they couldn't include at least a microphone. A microphone can't set it back that much.
It'll probably $25, and that's a weird price point to be at.
No.
I know, but they want to make their money on it. This device had to stay at $199, and I guess they did everything they can to keep it at $199. That's
one analyst says that Amazon is going to lose, $50 for every Kindle Fire that they sell, but they'll make up for that with all the digital content that Amazon sells.
Yeah. Well, not only digital content. I mean, this whole device is going to be that one-click setup with Amazon, and I'll tell you something. I have one-click setup on my iPad with the Amazon app, and I'm buying a lot more than I would if I had to put my credit card information. You know what I've been buying a lot? The Keurig coffees.
Oh yeah.
Instead of going to the store, I mean, there's been the little pods, and because we have a good Keurig and I like coffee, so every time I'm on this, every time I remember I see a commercial, instead of saying to myself, "Oh, I have to go to the store and buy it," I just pick up the iPad and I just hit buy now, and boom, you're done. I mean, it literally takes about 3 seconds to buy something. That's gonna be the thing that really drives income with this device, in my opinion.
Let me ask you. Do you see this?
By the way, I do want to say before.
Go ahead.
Before you say that, I did pre-order it. I have bought it.
I know that. You can't help yourself there.
I got it for Jess for her birthday. I got it on launch day for her birthday because she's been using my iPad. I don't even know why I'm whispering, because obviously she's not listening to the show, but for dramatic effect, I'm going to whisper. I bought it and because I don't want to use my iPad all the time. So we'll see.
You want it back?
I don't. I think I'm going to use the device. I'm very interested in the device. I do want to. In a weird way, I bought it because I want to support the pricing. I want this to be the pricing, and I really hope people buy it. Even if they're buying a regular Kindle, they do buy this device, because to support the tablet market, you need to be in this price structure where it's almost like an impulse buy still. $199, I could justify spending that, and I
Yeah,
I'll buy it.
and a lot of it too is what does this compete with? Does it compete with the iPad? Isn't an iPad killer?
No,
Does it
no.
compete with other Android tablets? And I think the answer is yes and no to both of them. I mean, it does, but it doesn't because it's not on the same scale in terms of features and hardware as the iPad and other Android tablets. So in that regards, no. But in terms of pricing for a 7-inch tablet, that in itself is competitive.
I'm looking like, what would you consider the best Android tablet on the market right now?
I don't know if you could even name one.
I guess it's the Samsung 10-inch, right? That would be the best Android tablet. And again, you're paying $500-$600 for this device.
Yeah.
So when you're comparing,
You might as well just buy. And I really do feel that. Why spend, $500-$600 on a tablet when you can just get an entire laptop that's going to do everything and anything that you ever needed to do?
no, it's a stupid pricing structure, and I don't support that at all. And I really like the tablet idea, I like the concept of a tablet, but it's a very early device, and the way this market has to go is a docking system, and I think Microsoft is going to be able to capture that market.
It still also competes with cell phones as well, and in a sense that it's similar to a cell phone and what smartphones can do these days.
Well, what they've done is rather than thinking a extension of your desktop OS, the tablet market has become a larger cell phone, and that's a wrong market to be in.
It's kind of like
and Apple's doing the same thing too. By the way, Apple's responsible for it too because all it is an oversized iPod Touch.
Well, yeah,
and Android has been doing the same thing. So this will be different because this is almost like
how much does this remind you of Google's Chromebook?
With what?
Chrome OS, in the sense that they're setting this up for much of it to be
on the cloud,
handled by the cloud and Amazon.
Yeah. So what it's going to do is offer you all your ebooks, your magazines, your music, your Android
They didn't
apps.
really set this up to have any of that content really stored locally or to be done handled by the tablet itself. They wanted to offload it and kind of hold it hostage in the cloud.
Yeah, which is an interesting concept, and I think it's good. I think that's a great idea for this device.
It also raises some privacy concerns as well, because if you look at what kind of information is going to be sent, so then you're locked into this whole Amazon cloud experience, which for Amazon is great, but for the end users, that's something that is good for them. In some cases, I think it is, but in other cases, I think there might not be some information that you want sent out to the cloud.
The big story, in my opinion, from all this entire announcement was the browser. Amazon is releasing a web browser called Silk. It's a very lightweight browser, and the reason why it's a very interesting device is that it does all the processing and all the the horsepower on its servers.
But that's nothing new.
In what sense?
That's been done before. It's called Opera Mini.
It's called Opera Mini, exactly. So it's very
that's exactly what Opera Mini has been doing for several years now, where their Opera Mini browser is designed for lower-end smartphones to be able to speed up the browsing, because everything is handled through a proxy that Opera has, which is very similar to what Silk will do. Silk actually uses Google's Speedy protocol, or whatever that Speedy thing is that they use to speed up caching and DNS requests.
Yeah.
It's the same concept where it runs through a proxy. Everything is handled by Amazon servers. What is it, EC2, Elastic Cloud Computing?
Yeah.
It's all handled by that, and then it gets crunched by that, and it gets sent to the end user. But then the case is, well, what sort of information gets sent to the cloud?
Yeah, what's
you
sitting
necessarily
there?
want everything, all your information is going to be stored in the cloud then?
I don't know. I'm one of those people that thinks everything I do is being sent somewhere and stored somewhere. So maybe I'm just totally off, and maybe I'm overly paranoid, but I've always looked at it as whatever I'm searching is being recorded somewhere.
But then it also, one of the other questions is, CNET has a really cool article about, 10 things we don't really know yet, or we wonder about the Kindle Fire. One of the questions they raise is the fact that, well, what about web applications, especially games like you play on Facebook, how will they interact with this new system? Will they be able to still work, or
And what is the response? Has there been any?
there hasn't been any yet? Nobody really knows yet because nobody has a device to play with. At the press event, people were giving demos from the management people. They weren't actually able to try it out themselves or do anything. They didn't have any kind of real hands-on test.
Yeah, and I found that interesting. I found that really interesting that they didn't have any hands-on. It was all demos, and that to me means possibly the OS isn't refined yet to the point that they want it to be. It's not optimized to the point that they want it to be. They have a good 2 months to ship this thing the way they want it to ship.
Right, but that was also the case when the playbook came out, because if you remember when they did their huge announcement for the playbook, they had that encased in glass. You couldn't touch it. It was just for looking only.
Yeah.
So
we'll see it. I mean, we have November 15th, the launch date. We're going to see what happens. I'm excited for it because I'm hoping to get my hands on it as soon as possible.
I'm really interested in this Silk browser and to see how it handles and if we'll see it on other devices as well.
Yeah, because they're saying that it eventually will lead to use on other devices.
I mean, I don't necessarily mind a proxy to speed up the caching and use of a lot of the elements like JavaScript that gets used on similar sites. How there's jQuery and Prototype that gets used on many, 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 many sites.
Now, we also, Amazon also released the Kindle Touch 3G for $149, the Kindle Touch for $99, and the Kindle, regular Kindle for $79. Not bad. I mean, these are great price points, and it's sub $100. You could get your hands on a Kindle, which is a great price point to be at. And I think they're realizing that they have to drop the price to compete with the tablets. Eventually, I think these are all going to be phased out, and we're going to have just the Kindle Fire. The Kindle's going to be the Kindle Fire. I don't see there being a point for all the other ones, except, the 3G is nice and the Touch is nice. But who knows, a couple of years from now. They're also saying that within the next couple of weeks, we're going to see the Nook Color 2. That's going to come out. It's going to be an Android-based tablet as well. I don't think it's going to be as good as the Kindle and as developed as the Kindle, but again, maybe this is what the tablet market is going to be.
Well, that's also going to be a little bit more money than the Kindle Fire as well, because they're going to say they're going to sell it for, I think, like $249.
Is that what they said? Who knows now? Because the pricing is lower. They dropped the ball in the pricing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited for it.
Right now, the lowest price Nook is $139, and I think they're saying here the Nook Color, which has touchscreen that runs on a basic version of Android, sells for $249. So.
Yeah,
I think we're finally starting to see the fact that manufacturers are seeing that these lower price points are where people are more willing to spend the money and pick up one of these devices that isn't necessarily a full-blown computer, but isn't an overblown expensive tablet like the iPad or the Android devices that are out there.
But let me ask you this. Are you willing to spend $200 on a tablet?
Me personally, or just the average consumer?
Just in general. I mean, do you think the market will accept that as the price?
I think there's a niche audience out there. I don't think it's something that's going to, be like the PC, the desktop PC that, it came out and everybody has a PC now. I don't think it's ever going to come to that level, at least not for, the near future. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think the lower price points will move a higher volume, but it's still a lot of people get by just using their smartphone, and they're like, "Why do I need to spend $300, $400, $500 on a tablet? It's going to be harder to take with me, and everything I want to do is already on my phone. The only benefit for them is a bigger screen."
Yeah. Amazon. Some more Amazon news. VentureBeat reported that there's been some serious talks between what's left of Palm with the current HP situation and Amazon. Amazon is interested in the WebOS, which I hope they keep this platform alive because I'm a big fan of WebOS. I think the concept of it was done really well. I think WebOS is closer to what BlackBerry is doing with their QNX operating system on their Playbook compared to when you compare it to what Android is doing. I think it's a great OS. I've been a fan of it for a while since it came out. I just feel that it's underdeveloped.
I think I've only
they didn't
ever
do
used
right.
it once.
It's a great
Is that
OS.
weird?
No, it's a great OS. I think a lot of people don't put their hands on it because it's not something to consider for a lot of people, but it's a great operating system. Unfortunately,
It's also something that really isn't out in the market either.
No, it's
I mean,
not.
other than the HP touchpad, which you can't even get right now. So
Listen, it's funny because this was an iPhone dominant market 2 years ago, 3 years ago. If you go back to 2008 and you look at, wow, what is the future of the mobile market going to be? Android was in its infancy. Windows Mobile was dead. Palm OS was dead. It was a very iPhone driven,
but didn't
iOS
WebOS
driven OS.
come out during the iPhone revolution?
2009, 2009.
And WebOS didn't take the same sort of warm reception that Android got, you know?
Well, Android, because they had Google's pockets behind it, but Android failed off the bat. I thought Android did a horrible job when they released 1.5. 1.5 and 1.6 were awful OSs. And I know people still with them and they hate it. So it's still in its infancy.
But it's still a very, very popular platform to use. I mean, you look at just the sheer volume of Android devices that are released every year.
Yeah, because it's free.
Partially, but
that also plays a part of it. So do you think Amazon should go after WebOS or should they stay?
I really don't know if it would benefit Amazon or not. It's hard because Palm and WebOS have just taken a huge beating over the last 2-3 years. So it really comes with a lot of negative publicity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have to expect that brand, WebOS and Palm, both of them have very negative publicity out there. So taking that on, you're already at a disadvantage because people are like, WebOS, Palm, aren't they dead?
No, what they should do is take the brand and rebrand it. That's what they should do. Kill the name and just call it, the Amazon whatever.
I can see that.
I mean, it's an exciting time. October 4th, the iPhone 5 event is going to be held in Cupertino this year. It's going to be a smaller venue.
Is it Cupertino or Cupertino?
Cupertino.
I thought everybody said Cupertino.
I've heard people say Cupertino.
I've never heard that.
No, it's Cupertino.
Must be a New York thing.
Maybe, possibly. Or the entire freaking world calls it Coop or Tino. It's going to be held at the Apple headquarters this year.
And that's the first, isn't it?
They've done some events there. I know they've held some stuff. They haven't done the big stuff. I'm not too sure. Where was the You're Holding It Wrong event held? It might have been held there.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But it's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific on the 4th next week. So this should be interesting. We're going to see the iPhone 5. I have a bet with Paul for people who don't listen to What the Tech. Paul Thorado and I have a bet where the loser will buy a round of drinks for the winner. He's saying that we're going to see two separate devices. He claims that and he doesn't know any inside information. This is just his gut feeling. We're going to see a iPhone 4S and we're going to see an iPhone 5.
It's possible.
It is possible. Now, this is where it gets. I think there's a couple technicalities. If there's a rebranding of the name, he wins. If it's just certain, if it's a hardware tweak, I win. And no rebranding.
Do you think you're gonna win?
This is the only thing, because Apple is a one device type person, and they they'll keep the iPhone 4 on the market, they'll kill the 3GS.
Yeah, but do you think they're being cornered a little bit into branching out into other models and maybe different price points for those models because of Android or other devices like Windows Phone 7?
Possibly. I think what they'll do is have an 8 gig iPhone 4, and that'll be priced at maybe $129 or $100. And they'll have the iPhone 5 that'll be the higher end, and it'll start at 16 gigs. I think that's what they'll do, because the 5 needs to come out. So we're going to see a better processor. We're going to see...
I think everybody's pretty much tired of waiting. Because normally they announce it in June, and they didn't do that this year. So everybody's like, all right, well, what's going to happen now?
Because this is
they
the
didn't do it in June, so
well, this
they
is
gotta
the
do something
iPod
big.
event. This is the iPod event. Generally,
iPhone, iPod.
well, no, generally the one in September has always been the iPod event.
Oh yeah.
So now it's become the iPhone and iPod event because it makes sense because the iPod thing isn't as big as it was a couple years ago.
Well, there's also speculation that Apple is going to kill off the iPod.
I don't think so. I don't think they'll kill the iPod.
No?
No, they can't.
Why not?
Because the MP3 market is still dominant. If you want just an MP3 device and you don't want a phone, there's a lot of people. See, I've always said, why would you not buy the iPod Touch and you would buy a regular iPod? To a lot of people, they don't care for the apps. They don't care for any of that. They just want a little device. So they're going to keep some of the iPods. I don't think they'll keep all of it, but I think they'll keep some of it.
So you think maybe all the other, different devices they have under the iPod, except for the iPod Touch, they'll stick with the iPod Touch.
Let me see what they have on the website right now, actually.
So I think they have, I believe, the Nano, or
They
may
have the
may have
Shuffle.
already got rid of that, and I know they have the Shuffle.
They have the Shuffle, the Nano, and the Classic, and then the Touch. They should kill the Classic, keep the Nano, keep the Shuffle, keep the Touch. And then you slowly kill off the Shuffle. And then you have the
See,
Nano.
this is
and then
very
you have-
interesting in the sense that, when you look at the iPhone is strictly one model, and that's what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the iPod has several different variations of the iPod.
Yeah, because they want to keep the pricing. They want to keep an affordable price. The Touch, I'm sorry, not the Touch. The Shuffle is $49. The
That's
Nano,
cheap.
it's really cheap. The Nano is, how much is the Nano? I'm not too sure. There's different versions. So it goes from 179. It goes from 149 to 179. And then the Touch is 229. And the Classic is 249.
Wow.
Yeah. So why would you get, I guess if you want the storage, because it's 160 gigs of storage and 100 and, yeah, they're both 160. I guess it's for the storage, but, a lot of people don't need it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So we're going to, also some of the rumors are that we're going to see a 4G iPhone, which that'll be the 5. Apple has not said anything about 4G, but they did install in many Apple stores. They are installing 4G repeaters and whatever you want to call them.
Let's go ahead and look at some of the rumored iPhone
Go ahead.
5 specs out there. I mean, they're talking about more memory, possibly 1 gigabyte of memory, which is twice the amount that the iPhone 4 has.
Yeah, which they
Maybe
should.
a higher resolution camera, 8 megapixel versus 5.
Okay.
Near field communications, which is a new hot technology that everybody wants to put in their devices now so that they can have mobile payments, basically.
Okay, let's go down the list, and I'll tell you what I think they'll do. 1 gig memory, yes.
I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Higher resolution camera, yes.
Another
NFC,
no-brainer.
NFC, no. They're not going to do NFC.
I don't think they're ready to do that yet either.
Yeah. They're not doing NFC. Go to the next
There's
one.
voice control, having
Yes.
everything done, which is similar to what Android does right now.
Yes. Okay.
So you think they're going to do that?
Yeah.
Improved graphics similar to Imagination's Power VR SGX 543, which is used on the iPad 2.
No.
No?
No.
What about a dual-core Apple A5 chip?
Yes.
And I think that's a no-brainer as well. Definitely 3G. 4G may be...
Well, the
fake
3G...
Good. 4G is...
But wait a minute. No. You skipped over into something important. It's a Qualcomm chipset that does both CDMA and GSM, so we're not going to have separate devices. It's going to be one device that does both.
I think that would be really interesting to see how that works.
They're going to go to it.
Because...
It's costing them too much to manufacture 2 devices.
yeah, but you also... What frequencies is that chip capable of doing? That's the thing, because carriers, you look at them, Verizon is different from Sprint. Sprint is different from AT&T. AT&T is different from T-Mobile.
Well, currently it does AT&T and
So-
Verizon, so that's the thing.
I
Unless
think if they make one device that does AT&T and Verizon, I think that makes sense. But you also have the fact that Sprint is also rumored to be getting the iPhone.
and T-Mobile as well.
And T-Mobile said that they're not getting the iPhone.
Oh, they cleared it up. Okay, so I don't think Sprint's going to get it. It'll be interesting if Sprint gets it, but I don't feel that they'll get it. I think it's going to be AT&T, Verizon for another year at least.
See, I'm thinking technology-wise, I don't believe it's possible to create one device that works on all carriers. You have to have different hardware set to different frequencies, I believe, at least. Unless you can actually just set it in the engineering screens to different frequencies. I don't know if that's something that they can do just with firmware.
Well, with this chipset, I think they can. I'm looking it up. I think.
That would make sense, but only time will tell what'll be happening with this chipset.
Now, the 4G is interesting. Are they saying it's going to be HSPA?
That's what they're possibly thinking at, which would be great for AT&T and Verizon, but it's not really 4G. It's not 4G like we're thinking with the new 4G devices that we're seeing out now that use the new LTE network that Verizon has. It's not going to work on that particular 4G network. It's going to be the phony 4G network,
which is still
it's faster, but technically it's still not 4G.
But it's running on 3G. It's running on the 3G network.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to run on the 3G network.
And they're also talking about iCloud and iOS 5.
Okay. iPhone, yeah. iCloud, yes. And iOS 5, yes. So those are a given. So the only thing I don't know if they're going to... I'm still 50-50 on the graphics improvements, but I really don't think they're going to do the NFC stuff.
I mean, a lot of people are saying they want an LTE version. But, see, Apple has said before that they're not ready for 4G.
I mean, they're saying that the iPhone 5, if they do the HSPA Plus, it's going to support 21 megabits per second.
That's great, but it's still not true 4G, which I think it's a marketing term, you know? It's 4G. 4G encompasses different technologies.
It's 10 times faster than the existing 3G, but it's not, LTE. It's not Verizon 4G.
Right, so eventually it's going to be phased out.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know.
I think it's going to be very exciting next week when they hold the event because everybody has just been waiting with bated breath for this information. What actually is going to be announced? What sort of specifications are actually in the device itself?
Well, we're also going to, in the coming weeks, we're also going to start seeing the ice cream sandwich Android devices starting to be shipped out. There was a leak on the internet of somebody getting it on eBay by mistake on an Android device. And
I still feel that Android has sort of reached a plateau.
Do you feel that because Windows Phone 7.5 is such a dominant phone and such a good phone, and because
I think it's
we have
still
all these,
because of the iPhone.
You still feel that it's the iPhone and the iPhone only?
Yeah, because look at it this way. I had a conversation with a iPhone expert this week, and she was telling me how a lot of people that she knows have gotten an Android device but returned it and got an iPhone because the Android device, which is a little bit more complicated to use, wasn't as user-friendly and easy to use as an iPhone is. iPhone is just set up for, the idiot to use, whereas an Android, it takes time to learn it, to set it up, and it's a little bit overblown for somebody that just wants something that, as Apple says, just works.
When I've complained for a while that my website loads a little slow. I think the problem has been resolved now. I think you could attest to this. It's a lot better than it was, 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot better. It loads a lot faster. There's more stability now. We've cleaned up the site. We've made it a little lighter weight. But, when you're talking, I'm talking it takes 4 seconds to load rather than 3 seconds to load. And to any normal person, that's nothing. Like, what do you mean? You're complaining about a second? But that second is a big deal. I feel the same.
I think that's a bigger deal on a mobile device than it is.
See, I feel the same. I feel the same when it comes to basic functions between the iPhone and between an Android phone. And the best thing I could compare it to is when you want to take a picture, when you want to use the camera on the iPhone, it's so much easier than using it on the Android.
Oh, definitely.
The experience is so much easier. So I'm going to take a picture here. Boom, and then I could share it. I could open up the gallery, and I could share it. It's instant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so fast. With Android,
and that's just something that I don't think Android has quite figured out yet. They haven't made it as streamlined and easy and just brain dead to do.
You know,
it's still a task that takes time to learn how do you do this. My mom, who just got an Android device, took a video of my nephew the other day, and she wanted to send that off to some of her friends, and she's like, "Well, how do I do that?" She wanted to send it as a text message, and of course, the video is too large for that.
Yeah.
So then she has to go and upload it to Photobucket or Flickr, and even that was a big hassle for her to figure out how to do and actually do it itself.
No, it's so
took
much more
several
responsive.
minutes.
You know what? It feels. I really, and again, like I have Android, and I'm angry at it because I use it, and I know what it can be. I'm so frustrated with the
Well,
device.
that's one of the reasons why I think it's very interesting to see how the Amazon Kindle Fire is actually going to do in the public. Is it something that, because it's so heavily customized from it being the normal Android experience to Amazon's experience, is that something that people are going to enjoy better than the typical Android experience?
Yeah. Again, we're gonna do live coverage of the event. We're hoping that we're going to have someone on the inside. It's going to be a little harder to have someone on the inside because this year it's at Cupertino. And
Cupertino.
It's not. It is Cupertino, damn it. It's Cupertino.
I don't know.
Well, you don't know anything.
It just doesn't sound right to me.
What do you know? Why don't we go into
What
another...
do you know?
I know everything. So we're going to do live coverage of the event. And hopefully Suncast won't pass out by then from his hysteria. You want to go into the IBM story?
Yeah, we can go into that a little bit.
Go into that.
And it's this, the only reason why I'm interested in this story is just because the sheer amount of money that IBM and Intel are investing into this project. What they're doing, they're investing $4.4 billion into new chip technology, which is a ton of money. I know it's spread out over a few years, but what they're doing is they're opening some new buildings in upstate New York, and that's where they're going to develop and make the new chip technologies that they're developing right now. It's all going to be done in upstate New York, and they're investing $4.4 billion of money into this over the next, I believe, 5 years that they're doing this.
Okay. So $4.4 billion into this technology. It's the chip maker is...
Yeah, it says it's a 5-year investment. It'll target upstate New York, already a major chip center.
What are they hoping to get from this?
I'm not sure.
I'm looking here. 5-year investment
There's a lot of
target New York.
Financial, and they don't necessarily say what their goal is from this, other than the fact that it's already tied to a lot of IBM stuff up there. It's becoming a new hotspot for chip technology and chip manufacturing in upstate New York. So it's kind of like Silicon Valley, where everybody flocks there because it's technology oriented. Well, now that's happening with upstate New York.
Yeah, that is very interesting that it's coming out here, and that's
And they're
great
saying
to
that's
hear.
going to create nearly 7,000 jobs, which is great.
That's amazing. That's great news here. Well, I'm looking here. The people that are involved, it's going to create 7,000 jobs. Mayor Andrew Cuomo. I was going to say Mario Cuomo, which is his dad, and his dad was the governor. Governor Andrew Cuomo said the number includes 2,500 additional high-tech positions at CNSE Albany Nanotech Complex, IBM Yorktown Heights, IBM East Fishkill, SUNY Institute of Technology in Utica, and CNSE Smart System Technology.
That went there.
So this is going to create a lot of jobs, and a lot of work is going to be put in here at SUNY. It's good stuff, though. It's really good stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And it's incredible that they're investing $4.4 billion. That is not a small chunk of money at all.
Do you feel that they should be investing more? I mean, it is an interesting market that the manufacturing business has kind of slowed down here in the States, and we have to kind of go to this. We have to go into technology manufacturing, and the chip market is heating up again.
Well, look at it this way. It's better than going to China.
Yeah.
At least they're not going and putting $4.4 billion into China.
Yeah, so this is interesting, and but you know what's fascinating? Intel is behind a lot of it too,
Oh yeah.
which is a good sign that they're getting aggressive about this. They're getting very aggressive about this, and this is what we really have to do. We have to innovate the technology. Think about where we could potentially be if we are aggressive like this, and all these companies are aggressive like this with the investments into the chip technology market. We would be so further ahead of where we are now. Of course.
And I think we're starting to realize that there's still room out there for us to be a major player in this again.
And yeah, and these chipsets are tiny. You're talking 300 millimeter. You're talking 100 millimeter. They're hoping that it would be 45 millimeter. I mean, these are small devices, small pieces of chips.
It's a win-win for everybody, and I'm not going to fault them for not investing more, but at least they're doing something. It's still going to create nearly 7,000 jobs, which is a win.
Yeah, that's great here. I'm actually looking at a picture of an IBM plant of them making a 300 millimeter chip at a manufacturing plant. It's such a complicated procedure. I mean, it's mind blowing.
Goodness.
It's mind blowing how we don't appreciate what these devices are able to do.
No, it's very technological. People don't understand how these CPUs and a lot of stuff is made. It's not a circuit board by traditional means. It's a silicon wafer that has a whole lot of special processes and manufacturing done during the creation of the chip.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at their Fishkill facility here in New York, and it's amazing. It's amazing how they're making these things. And they're getting smaller and smaller, so it's really interesting stuff, and hopefully, more good stuff will come out of there. And it's good to New York. It's really good for New York. Magnets. Is that what we're going to get? Magnets?
It's all thanks to magnets.
So we've covered that stuff. I covered the Amazon news. Is there anything else you want to get to before we do our picks?
I do want to touch a little bit on this Spotify issue on Facebook, because there's a lot of people that are kind of upset about this, and I kind of see both sides to this. What's going on now is that Spotify has decided to say that the only way you can use Spotify now is if you have Facebook. So in order to use Spotify, you have to create a Facebook account. And a lot of people aren't very interested in creating a Facebook account or don't want to link their existing account to Facebook.
So it's saying that you have to link it to Facebook if you use Spotify?
Yes.
All right, so let's launch Spotify. I think you mean for the full version, right?
For new users, you have to have Facebook. I think existing users have a choice, but I think they're eventually going to be forced to, link it to Facebook. But what that does is that you now have to set up your privacy controls in addition for Spotify on Facebook.
Yeah, maybe you don't want people
you
to
don't
know
annoy the crap out of your friends, and that there's also the concern that the privacy sharing between Spotify and Facebook now.
Let me see. I got an upgrade button here.
You don't necessarily get the choice now of having Spotify separate from Facebook, because Facebook has had a long history of, not being the most privacy conscious website out there. There's been several privacy issues in the past, and now they're going to connect that with Spotify. So now you have a whole nother service here that you have to share a bunch of details with, hand in hand with Facebook.
Yeah. So I logged in to Facebook with Spotify, and now I'm in. So
and now
I guess
every time you listen to something on Spotify, it's going to post on Facebook.
Let's see this. So I'm going to listen to something.
But on the other hand, I do think it's good because Spotify and Facebook are both very social services. So I think in that regard, it's a good deal for them.
All right. So let's see what I can find here. I'm going to click on a song, and I'm going to see if it comes up on my Facebook. Let's click on this. Okay. So here's the song. And hopefully now, let's close this out. Now, did it go to my Facebook? Anybody could see that.
Let's go see.
Let's go see.
I don't see anything right now, but
no,
there might be a little lag.
There might be a little delay, yeah, but you're right. But No, I don't have anything yet. So maybe I didn't agree to it.
But aren't you an existing user?
I am.
And I think it's primarily right now targeted towards new users.
Okay.
I think existing users still have the choice right now not to link their account. You have to link your account first. And I don't think you've linked your account to Facebook yet.
No, I haven't. I haven't done it. I think all these things are getting tied in, and it's not good. It's really not to have that much of a tie-in.
No, it's a similar concern to the Amazon Kindle Fire having everything in the cloud. I mean, that's just inherent to cloud computing these days, is storing all that information in the cloud and having, who's going to be accessing that information.
Yeah,
and how are they going to use that data?
I guess a lot of people like Spotify, huh? A lot of people use it. Because I'm looking at my Spotify list, and it's so many people. I mean, so many people. And now I have access to all their songs, which is fascinating. I like that, though. I like that it's a different type of environment, different type of device. At first, I didn't really get it, but now I kind of do.
Yeah, my concern here is that I think it's a good idea. You just have to have the controls in there to be able to control what is and isn't available to everybody else connected to Facebook. I mean, are you going to annoy the crap out of your friends with every song that you listen to? Are they going to be able to access everything that you're listening to? How do you control that? Can you control what Facebook has access to?
I'm sure you
How long
can.
are they going to store the data for? So they're going to know every single song that you listen to on Spotify. Facebook already knows what it is.
Yeah, it's great for marketing, because now if they know you're into hip hop, they're going to target, a new record coming out, and they're going to say, hey, Suncast, don't you want to buy this? I know you're into this kind of stuff.
No.
That's what they're going to start doing. Why don't we do our picks of the week, Suncast? What do you think?
All right.
Why don't you go first?
All right, I'll go first. This is a great segue for me, because we're just talking about the privacy concerns and stuff. And then a lot of people are now concerned with the fact that Facebook and Google Plus and the social network sites are tracking you on other websites and automatically sending information. Even if you don't click on like a like button on the Google Plus One button, it'll still send information to Google and Facebook. And a lot of people are very concerned about them being tracked on other websites. They already know what websites you're on and everything else about that website and what you're doing on that website. And one of the ways to fix that, though, is to just completely block Facebook and Google+. The problem with that, however, is that you block all access to Facebook and Google+, and you can't use it anymore. And for me, that's not a great idea. I like the fact that I want some sort of privacy control, but I don't want to completely block out everything that I can't use Facebook and Google+ anymore. There's some extensions out there that help out a little bit, and one of those great extensions is called, I believe it's Priv3 or Priv3. I'm not really sure.
PRIV3.
Yeah, Priv3, and it's from the ICSI, which is a college group, I believe, out of Berkeley, California, or something like that.
I think it's Priv3, like privacy.
It might be, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Priv3.
There's no saying on the website how to pronounce it. I tried finding it out, but it's really cool, because what it does is it'll block the session cookies from actually loading when you go to third-party websites and other websites, so that tracking cookie doesn't know that you're doing anything yet. It doesn't automatically submit information back to Google and Facebook anymore. It'll still let you click like buttons and the Google Plus button and still use Facebook for comments and everything, but it won't automatically send that information out anymore. It's pretty cool. It says it blocks web bugs or trackers, fairly straightforward, which is great. It doesn't block third-party interactions, which is what I just said, where you're able to click the like button and Google Plus button. It's something that I believe everybody should install. It's for Firefox, and you just go to priv3.icsi.berkeley.edu.
Very nice pick.
It's cool. I'm really, really happy with it. It's very non-obtrusive. You don't notice it, and anytime you go to a website now your data is automatically sent to Facebook and Google+. only if you click the buttons to like it or Google Plus it or make a comment.
Cool. My pick this week, a viewer sent me. I didn't actually find it, and when I found it, I said, "Wow, I could really use this." If I had the email, I can't. I gotta maneuver this camera around, so I won't be able to get it. But we'll give credit to the emailer on the website. I use a piece of software called Soundboard on my website. On our shows. It's made by. I'll tell you right now. Where is it? About. It's made by Ambrosia Software Inc. I've been using it for some time, so all the sound clips that we play on the show are made by this the software that, I guess, what do you call it? I guess the soundboard itself is an application that I use, and I highlight everything. And I think we featured it once before on the show. But now they have an iPad app. It's called the Soundboard iPad app, made by Ambrosia Software. Let me get the camera. Here we go. So there we go. So it's a very simple look, very simple setup. You could color coordinate. You could set up in whatever way you want it to look, pretty much. I don't know if you see it here. It's a pretty cool software, right? So let's.
I'm just reading some of the names on those.
I know. I got to be careful with the names. Some of them aren't family friendly. So let's. I'll play this. So for the Bald Truth, we play this to start the show. So it's very easy. You just tap on it. You can pull the volume up and down.
That's cool.
Yeah, really cool, right? And then you could color coordinate based on the show, based on what you want. So here's a clip.
People are sick.
So yeah, so Spencer. So what I could do, because I want all of Spencer's sound clips to be in purple, let's say. So I click on edit, I click on it, and I just hit purple, and then done. So there you go. Now I've color coordinated all my sound clips. So whenever I want to play a sound clip of Spencer, I just click on that. Oh, let me go to done, actually. Done. There we go. So I just click on.
Sick.
So there you go. Yeah, it allows you to do many other features. It's a great piece of software. The only problem is when I went to go buy it, it's a little pricey. It's about $20. It's a pricey app, but it does make your iPod Touch into a full-fledged soundboard, which is very useful for many people, especially in the radio business that don't have a soundboard system. Now you have everything laid out, and you could have different channels. You could have different pages, so you could have. It's virtually unlimited what you could do with this. It's a great piece of software. It's about $19.99 in the App Store. It's made by Ambrosia Software. It's called Soundboard. It came up as soon as you put in Soundboard. It comes up, and we need something like this. You know, I use it all the time. I actually use it on Thursday for the show, and it worked great actually. So whenever Joe calls in on Fridays, I could just use this and not use the laptop. I don't know. I like it. It's a good pick for me. And that's my pick. Suncast, I appreciate you hanging out early today. I know we did the show a little early today, about an hour early, but I'm going to be replaying it in a couple of minutes. We'll be back in about 30 minutes for the live show with Behind the Counter. So exciting stuff, Suncast. I'm going to go play some sound clips now. And just do nothing. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep pressing sound clips. Let's see what we have.
You're going to do remixes.
I have something called Mixdown, and I'm afraid to click on it. I don't know what it is.
That might be something that I sent you.
Yeah, obviously it's not appropriate then. I wanted to let all our viewers know to tune in live every... It's definitely not appropriate then. Tune in live virtually every day. We have a full schedule on our website at gfqlive.tv. You can just click on a schedule and tell you an entire schedule of what we're doing and what time we're on. We're also live in about a half hour with Behind the Counter. And you can catch all our shows if you miss them live at gfqnetwork.com. Until then, we'll see you all next week. Good night, everybody.